pause to seek guidance, please. Okay. Good. The adoption of the agenda, is there any additions or deletions? And the answer is yes. For next meeting, change of time. So can we put that under, just after correspondence?
Mark, you haven't got a pen, do you? Oh, never mind. Thank you. Bye.
You had,
I did. No lie to there. I did.
and they just got up and walked away.
Someone must have stole them from me. Holy cow. Jap. I'm blaming Jap. Now he would steal my pens.
Okay. Could someone adopt the agenda as amended, please?
So moved.
There's a seconder.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next, we have a presentation by Karen and Robichaud, Transport Declared. Could I have someone having move forward, please?
So moved.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded. Welcome, Clareton.
Thank you. Been a while. And a bit of snow since that. But that's okay.
It's snowing now.
Yeah. If somebody says, at least there's no mosquitoes anymore, I'm gonna. That joke was good for 2 weeks, not good anymore. Thanks for you for your time. I'll try to be 15, 20 minutes. I know you got other presenters and a big agenda in front of you. I will assume you've read the letters and the budgets and some of this stuff that I sent. I'll be very brief on some of it and then dialogue. I also got on the side page a last minute thing, which was it's not just about money, mileage, tires, and gas, and et cetera. It's about what do we really do in Digby, an area to help people, and what do we serve. And I think that's where I want to focus to some more. So, like I said, on the letter dated February 23rd to you guys was an ask for a raise, of course. But at the end of the day, April 1st, we've been on the road 19 years in Clare. We were in Weymouth in 2010 and 2013 in Digby, an area from the neck on to Bear River. Last year, well, I won't say last year, this year we're predicting to have logged over 380,000 kilometers. 150 of that is Digby and area. 22,000 passenger trips is where we're going to be at. As big and as we're going to grow to a $375,000 budget, year one 4,000 kilometers, this year 380. Never would I thought I'd be sitting in public to say that we're at $375,000 budget, but with an aging population, we didn't know it was the big wave that was coming our way 19 years ago, but I'm glad we did start. Of course, being community-minded people and running this facility, you know that the pollinating strategy talks about Digby County being at 21% people over 65, and that's going to double by year 2026. I don't think you have to read that. You don't have to read a 48-page report. I think you see it. You see it in your backyard, you see it in your neighbors, you see it in your relatives and parents. One that did amaze me, but again, not really, that the poverty rate, according to Canadian Labour Congress, the poverty rate from year 2006 to 2011 has had an increase of 25% in the poverty rate of seniors. Again, I think you see it in your backyard, and you don't have to read that from the 82-page report I had to read to get that number, but you see it every day. And we're not in Halifax or Montreal where half your population's got either a teacher's pension, doctor pension, or union pension. We're from a local fishing place, forestry place, and there's not many pensions that go at it. So you see those seniors living on fixed income, let alone community services. Um, Bottom line, we need to put a $20,000 surplus at the bottom line for capital to replace our vehicle. We have 4 buses and 3 vans. And the good news is we have 4 unwaged volunteer cars. And at 40 cents a kilometer, that's what kept us afloat in Digby and Clare the last 3 years, with the price of gas going up and medical trips, et cetera, et cetera. And last year we logged in both Clare and Digby 60,000 kilometers. We can say it's good for the environment, and we can say a whole bunch of stuff at it, but it's door-to-door service is what we're about. A word score to transportation, which is a lot of parents and seniors, you know, the kids are gone out west or getting older or fishing or whatever it may be. You know, you get to Yarmouth Hospital in the basement and it's diagnostic, and there's 20 arrows to 20 different MRI, bone scans, and that. We actually bring them, escort them right to A, B, and C. There's an extreme growing effect also of the lack of specialists in the area, and we're heavily now in New Minas, Yarmouth, Kenville. And we use the shuttle as much as we can, but the appointment's at 9 o'clock in New Minas, and even fibromyalgia, we were in Lunenburg with somebody from Dowsettville last week. The shuttle don't go there. The other problem with the shuttles is, because we don't want to be a shuttle, we never want to be a shuttle, is a lot of them is if there's not 3 people on board, they're not on the road. So you're assuming they're on the road, they're not. And Bernie shuttle in Yarmouth, it's first come, first served. One week, if you call, you're on the 101, the other week they're on the 103. If you have an appointment April 22nd to see a cancer specialist you've been waiting to see for 6 months, or a knee replacement something, on the 22nd of April, you gotta be in Kenville, you gotta be Kenville. You can't say, well, maybe, maybe not. So that's where they lean on us on that. So at the end of the day, you know, the $13,000 a year was appreciated, it still is. And to go to 23,000 is, you would be 7% of our budget if you looked at it. The board of directors, the list are there. On the financial stuff, amazing that in 3 years, our fares this year will be, for Digby area division, will be $85,000. Never in my wildest dream, because when I was here about 3 years ago talking to you about building this and starting it, I had a projected of $35,000. We're at 85. The charter, province, donations, etc. But just fares alone, out of the $123,000 Digby and area division budget, 85,000 of it is fares. We're donating about $6,000 a year in subsidized trips in this area. And I think we're the area we can work some more other than municipality of Digby to sustainability. I'm working not just for next year. I'm working for the next 5 to 10 years. I don't just work 1 year. And actually you see a 3-year plan in there. The board knows, and I just gave you 1 page of our notice to reader, which you guys have every year. I send it to Linda, both Lindas, that we had an 11 and a $26,000 deficit. And the board was not allowed, because at the end of the day, it's a paper loss. But you say paper loss too long, at the end of the day, it's a capital loss. Because it means that you don't have enough money to replace your capital fund. You're either going to end up having loan payments on vehicles, which is about $180,000 worth of capital assets, which are, right now, we owe $28,000, which is nothing. But that's on my back. So I think all of you know that I'm on wage, and maybe some of the audience don't know that. I've never taken a salary in 19 years. But we're in the position now, thanks to a major raise from the provincial budget, the last one, to be in a position to hire a manager. Hopefully we'll be president of the board for 100 years, but there'll be new blood, and I'll be donating my 20 hours a week, and I won't say the big 60, but I just said this year is the big 60. So at the end of the day, the notice reader is red ink, but at the end, we can't fool ourselves. That bottom line, we have to either have payments, and I used to work in a bank, and I don't want to give interest to banks anymore. When I was sitting on the other side, we need to put a reserve on the side so that every year we can take demand loans and pay off quickly. The rest is a 3-year forecast of the whole Digby County Transfer Declare, which is in front of you. And the budget we made shows a net income of 20,000, but that net income 20,000 is what we need to replace our capital at the end of the day, so it's not really a surplus. Municipality of Clare, we're asking them to go to 25,000. They've been at 20,000 for 3 years now, and I think I note in there that you won't see me for the next 3 years. So I won't be here next year and the year after saying, oh, by the way, this is the best of our abilities. Also, you'll see in there the letter that I sent to Municipality of Clare, which is tabled next week. So it's sort of a joint Digby-Clare project, and I'm being truthful and transparent, like I said we were going to be 3 years ago. That what happens in Digby, Clare knows, and what happens in Clare, you will know. So it's clear in front of you. In closing, some of the stuff we do, I think we've built a great relationship with the age-friendly community proposal. I think I was here like at least 8 times. Don Thomas, relationship with Bob Powell, Kara, Tyview Terrace, Digby Regional High School to the YMCA once a week, Freeport School to the Tri-County Women's Center, bringing them to Publico, and some more coming. Digby Restorative Program, Roger Tibbetts, and the Digby Food Bank. We bring 11, we had to change bus. We've got an 18-passenger bus now. We went from 8 to 7 to now we are currently 14 people we bring monthly. Remember I told you that monthly thing from Digby? 6 of them on the bus goes to the food bank. The rest are just going banking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Great relationship with Andy Elliott. I didn't know there was a women's food bank until 2 years ago. And we bring 7 people there for the last year and a half, free of charge once a month. Wharfrat Rally, Annapolis Basin Conference Center. How do 600 people travel back and forth? I assure you the Basin Taxi was very pleased that we took that off their shoulders. Digby Chamber of Commerce, Digby Pines and Tourism, for whale watching, wine tours, great relationship with Digby Pines. And the Interagency Committee. Also, I've been in contact a bit with Port Days, and if there's a few cruise ships coming down, they want to see downtown, but what about the second year or cruise ship number 4, if you didn't want to do that wine tour or whale watching? I don't think taxis can do this trip. So I've been in contact. I forget the guy's name, but the email's in my computer. I promise shopping locally. And that's Digby Promo, Bruce GM, Fleet Line, Wayman Irving, JR Sign, CarQuest, and 2 part-time drivers. So there's no more Yarmouth shopping. It's in Digby. If anything we try to do, it's Clare or Digby. So we can call them. If we're dealing with them, we are. One of the things we are working on is we have volunteer cars in Digby, Ashmore, Dowsettville, and I've got 2 coming from Freeport. I've got them finally insurance lined up. Digby is very beneficial to a major French school board contract from Dowsett-Ville to the Costa de Clare. That's your contract. Example of 30% of my day being a social worker, leaving at 6:30 in the morning from Freeport to Yarmouth Hospital for day surgery for 10 o'clock. That got postponed till 2 o'clock. My driver got home at 7 o'clock at night. That's a 14-hour day for a volunteer car. In January, right in the middle of a snowstorm, somebody getting discharged from the hospital at 10 o'clock in the morning in a blizzard. I was on the phone for 3 hours. And finally, my light bulb came on and said, darn, Ashmore does have a volunteer fire department. Hello, fire department? Not an emergency, but when it's slowed down, can you bring them home? So, those person. And out of our pocket, they got that. That person had not eaten in 24 hours. Again, I talked about a lot of medical trips. And I think we're at the point of scale where we were sort of where Claire was many years ago, where every time the phone rings, it costs X amount of dollars to do the trip. There's going to be economic scales, and I think we're at the tipping point now, which is why I pretty believe that we're going to be, I won't be back here in 3 years. And that when you get enough medical trips is when eventually you can start saying, yeah, I'll bring you to errands and grocery shopping during that same trip. And that's the difference between us and a taxi. You want to go to grocery shopping at 10 o'clock, take a taxi. But if you want to, it's called a do-call list. Meaning, if in 2 weeks from now, we're going to bring somebody for a medical trip from Bear River, Ashmore, Centerville, or wherever to here, that person called, will say, yeah, we're coming here on a Thursday at 10 o'clock, hop on board, and that's where the economics of scale ends up. The Lend a Hand program, that's through the Department of Health. I didn't know this till I wanted to come here, and that out of 64 person, 31 is from,
That's where the mic is between.
yeah, I'm buzzing.
31 are from where?
Digby. So I didn't know that, because I think when it came out, I really wanted to make sure that Digby at the end of the day, what I think home care workers and myself wanted to make sure we did is that this is the farthest to get them a hospital. So let's hit the ones that are furthest away. And that's maybe Saturday I was on the phone, making sure that we got a good test. So in Clark County, District Council, I don't care what children and young people, let's take care of our own. And we're up there. The good news for DP Neck and the Islands is we're up to almost 16 people. The more people at $20, more, it was losing $600,000 a year. Now that loss is down to $2,000. So maybe in, once you reach 16, it might be, but food-wise, and these people shop for a month. We almost need a trailer to fit in the back. And it's good. So the good news is, right now, there's going to be a sort of spring survey of, there's a lot of people that sort of want to do it on senior check day. So I think we're going to survey the market because they're already calling. The bus is almost full, and it's sort of, they're not interested in the same thing. So I think there's a market there. And again, I'm glad that the Neck and the Islands are sustainable, that neighbors are helping neighbors. We always want that. I never always said we want to be good transportation. That's the neighborly thing to do. But I'm pretty sure there's a market there for $20 to come here for 3 hours of errand banking and shopping. The other one is word of mouth. The Digby Expo, Wheel Parade, Salad Days, has created some extreme quick growth. And
right now, the survival rate would be to look at volunteer cars to sort of have a car in Freeport and a car in Bear River. It's just a smart thing to do so that those vehicles are there and we're not having a $75,000 van or worse, $120,000 bus for an able-bodied senior who can walk and go to the doctor appointment and we can put the groceries in the car. So we're doing the best we can to keep under this, and like you can see, the gas thing is just a little party that doesn't last long. But you can imagine the price of tires and everything else we would be able to state. But we're really proud, I think, really proud in that I think we're making the lives of Digby better, both economically, socially, social isolation, and all the people I said I'm working with creates people living at home as long as they can in a healthy and well place and better. This is what I think we do. Thinking, I'll feel any questions. Making 380,000 kilometers a year and 30% of my year being social worker is kind of hard to put in 10 minutes. Thank you.
I just want to thank you for all the help you've done down in my neck of the woods. Difficult cases, short notice, unable to pay, everything possible, and it's been nothing but fantastic. And I'm really happy about, especially the help for the Isle of Manor. It makes it a more, helps its sustainability because it enables people to stay there and be able to, do their shopping and things like that. I just really want to, I think that we've had an amazing value for money, and thank you very much.
There's actually 2 people who wanted to move out, and when we got there, they're not moving out
Yep.
anymore.
Very, very important.
I didn't know until we started serving them, because the first thing was, can't wait to get out, and now you don't hear that from my brothers.
Or we'll all get a call from somebody, I have to be up for a brain scan on tomorrow.
Yeah.
And things like that, and you always came through. Just thank you so much. And I know that they haven't always been the easiest, but you've always done wonderfully. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, Clarendon, thank you so much. We will be going at budget time to discuss the increase. Making no guarantees. We know you're doing a great service, though, and we do appreciate all the time you volunteer.
We need all the volunteer social workers we can find, so thanks.
Yeah, once I find a manager, I'll be more on the
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, wonderful. I found five free hours. I can now do 10 hours extra work.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
All right, the next persons we have is from Data, Carol Barnes, Mary Tibbetts, Mike Bartlett. Could we have someone move that they come forward?
So moved.
Is there-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. You can bring the chairs up to the tables, please. That one's not working?
No, turn that one back on.
Okay, you can turn this one back on. We found out where the problem was. And move it towards who's ever speaking.
Put a microphone in front of me and I just try.
Yes, but what happens is we hear you better. That's why we want it. If you don't want us to hear you, that's fine.
Okay.
We can forget you're here.
All right. Thank you first. Thank you for inviting Data down here to speak to you all. Our board consists of Saskia Gertz, who is the Digby Backpackers Inn, but unfortunately she's out of town on vacation. She'll be back next week. Carol Barnes is our treasurer, Greg Turner, our vice chair, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mary Tibbetts, and I'm the secretary. Saskia, our chair, did write a letter, so what I'm going to do, my portion is I'm going to read the chair's letter to you. Okay? The Digby Area Tourism Association was formed to be the voice of tourism for the area, a united area voice to represent such an important aspect of our local economy. Data has done this over the years with support from businesses and the different levels of government. Over the last few years, significant signage and beautification projects were successfully undertaken. Over the last year, with Destination Southwest Nova falling away, Data has had to shift its focus to area marketing. This has always been part of Data's mandate, although the focus has not had to be on this as much as in the past. Just to clarify, this does not mean that Data would not undertake product development projects. Some of Data's yearly activity has been proofreading text for provincial marketing material and organizing the Doers and Dreamers Guide advertising. Over the past year, the new digbyarea.com website was developed as well. As Data had enough funds in the bank to undertake this, and there were no larger products on the immediate horizon, no funding was asked for from our funding partners. Data has recently taken the initiative to contact the different communities and towns within the 183 Loop in southwest Nova Scotia in an effort to work together on area promotion and possible product development. This is in line with the just released Nova Scotia Tourism Agency strategy of providing project-based funding to the area in place of opting for a new area destination association. Data anticipates to apply for funding from the province for the 183 Loop project and will need the leverage dollars to do so successfully. With funding deadlines from the province for this being quite short notice, Data has requested the funding from the municipality at the same amount as previous years to be able to quickly move forward on this initiative. Now we've got Mike Bartlett here who will speak on the 183 Loop and I believe the lure piece.
Okay, thanks for having us again today.
Mike, just move that a little closer
Yeah,
to you,
sure.
please.
Just want to update you a little bit. A few months ago when we had our new executive, Bob Benson from Bear River, who I'm sure you know, brought up an association that they had active in 1991 to 1998, which was called the 183 Loop, which is Highway 1, Highway 8, and Highway number 3. So we thought it was a good idea if we kind of tried to get this rolling again, to get all the communities together with the new Nova Star and now the new ferry that we have coming across from St. John to Digby. So we've been meeting since November, actually. Our first meeting was November 12th in Yarmouth. Our second meeting was in Liverpool, and our third one just before Christmas was in Annapolis Royal. So we're scheduled to have another meeting in March, and we've actually had one subcommittee come out of it for a lore piece, and that meeting was held last week out in the Biosphere Reserve. So I just want to mention who's on the 183 Loop that's been involved or emailed. Most of these people have attended, some haven't, but they're in the loop, so to speak, with email. Data, of course, Bay Ferries, Parks Canada, Regions of Queens, Yarmouth Tourism Association, Town of Annapolis Royal, UNESCO, Southwest Nova Biosphere Reserve, Clare, Argyll, Bike Nova Scotia, Nova Star, Shelburne Lockport, Liverpool, Nova Scotia Tourism Association, Economic Rural Development, and Portland Chamber of Commerce. So we've got quite a loop going right now to build it. And like I say, they had a meeting last week to develop a lore piece. It is in conjunction with the Nova Scotia Tourism 5 itineraries that we're doing. One was food, and the 5 themes that they've come up with, that's a lore piece that we're developing. And you'll see in our budget that we sent you, we expect to spend about $15,000 on a lore piece, which will be funded hopefully by the Nova Scotia Tourism, Economic Development, and the communities around the loop. So it's been very enthusiastic, every meeting we've been to, and it just keeps on growing and building. The greatest asset we have, of course, is the Biosphere Reserve, and they've done a lot of work for us. So we don't want to recreate a wheel, so we're going to add to their websites and sort of put another level on their map type thing and use them to develop a lore piece. So the people working on the lore piece are Region of Queens, Seska, she's on that, but she wasn't at the last one, Parks Canada, and Donna Hatt, who I'm sure you're familiar with at Liverpool. She's very good on developing packages and stuff through Department of Tourism as well. So that's a little update on that, and it's going to grow, I think, and everyone's happy about it. So it's working very well. So I'll pass it on to Carol if anyone has any questions. And okay, Carol.
Hi, so I'm Carol, and they've said pretty much everything. I just wanted to say that the money that we're asking for, we do have a few things. Like Mary said, we didn't ask for any last year because we did have some funds available, and we didn't really have any big projects. We have this loop this year. The other thing we have is the town map, the area lure piece. We just feel really strongly now because of the VIC going, and we feel that we'd like to put Data's money into a lure piece for Digby, and also the UNESCO sign that's going to go down by the ferry as well. We're going to help with that. We have a few things we are doing for the first time. We're going up to Saltscapes. We have quite a few members. We're doing a big membership drive this year, which we haven't done before. So we're hoping, and it seems pretty good right now. So we're going up to do the Saltscapes. We did the Boston Market in the spring last year, and we'll probably do it again this year just to kind of promote Digby and area. And that's about it. Just going back to the 183 list, we do have a couple of girls from Dalhousie that are going to take the project on and try and help a bit with that. So we did need a bit of funds to help with that, to get that going as well. And that's about it. If there's any questions about the finances, I think you all have the budget there.
Okay, Deputy Warden.
With regards to the UNESCO signage, you mentioned one at the ferry terminal or coming off the boat.
That's where we thought it was, yes,
Well,
going to be.
we're going to need 3.
Okay.
In order for the entry points coming into the municipality, we talked about this at a previous council meeting, where we've got UNESCO designation for this area, and yet we don't promote it. And so when you get off the ferry, we would need signage there, but we were talking about, as you enter the municipality of Digby, so we've got a sign on both ends right now. So at the time, we were talking about if we could add a piece to that, and I think the recommendations come back to say we probably need a standalone sign rather than add on, because it would clutter it up too much. So we'd be looking at wanting to put 3 UNESCO signs in.
And what would you be looking at for those, like from data? How much would you be looking for?
I'm not sure. We haven't got into that
Okay.
detail yet, but we'd be looking at saying, you're now entering a UNESCO heritage site or whatever. So all the details on what would be on it has to be worked out, but there was a sample given to us on signage, and it would be good. I thought it would be really good for us to promote that.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so, pardon me? Yeah, well, we've talked to Rob about it as well. And second thing is this, the 183 loop. I think it's very positive that there's discussion on that. But I wanted to know how much are the different tourism associations getting together to really promote the region? Are they just meeting once to talk about this, or you talked about hiring some students, but how much is the tourism associations themselves actually working together? How much do you work with Yarmouth, for example, and Clare?
Actually, Yarmouth's been very, very active with the deal down there. Actually, he was at the Warfish for tapping onto his road he said he did for Warcraft Rally last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the map that they did for the rally they did last year was actually the 183 loop that they did. So they're giving us all the rights to use all that stuff. The holdup this year was because Nova Scotia Tourism wasn't announcing the strategy, that we really couldn't go ahead and do anything aggressively because we didn't want to do something that didn't go along with Nova Scotia Tourism. So there was no sense of creating something on, say, the Digby Skull, and they weren't even going to talk about food, right? So once we found out what their categories were, we started working around that. We also didn't want to recreate any wheels that they're already doing and tap into their budget for this year. And
I guess that's what,
Moving forward, we will be doing a lot more with them, and
Yeah.
we do plan on having the contributions from those communities to develop something together.
yeah. Well, I know it's crucial with having a ferry service here and one in Yarmouth, and trying to attract as many people coming off the ferries to stay in the area for a few days, instead of them getting off the boat and taking off to Halifax or wherever.
And that's what last couple of years ago I was on the destinations board, and I read that little tourism guidebook, and it would say how to get here. And it would say you take the ferry from St. John, and then you go down straight, take a right, get on 101, 101, go to Minneapolis and Windsor.
Right.
So I made them change that. I said, no, you don't go off the ferry and go to the highway. You get off the ferry and visit the whole municipality.
Mm.
And then you can go to Minneapolis.
After you spend a lot of money.
And we are also, Jimmy, we're also doing some onboard stuff, so we want to do some onboard stuff that we've been talking to the area Rural Association, do some stuff about Maud Lewis, do some stuff about Digby. So the Digby story that they just came out with, play on Digby, will be on the St. John Ferry, and open on those, that will be about Maud Lewis, because Maud was here in the as well, right? So they want some of that stuff, plus also some training with the staff on those, what's in the area, and then to tell people what's going on, proper signage and proper door pieces on the ferry, so that people know what's going on.
Well, you hit on something else there too that I wanted to touch on, is the fact is, have you cataloged or identified the assets we have for tourists to go to in the region? Like, like they can go whale watching or they can go trails? Like, have you got anything on that as a region?
Yeah, we have, and it was working on the social tourism strategy, there's 5 itineraries that we've done. Because sitting around the table, we have such an inventory that we have to focus in on one, because we have a lot of inventory in this area. You can keep people here for 2 or 3 weeks very easily. Right? So unfortunately, Dawn doesn't have that together for us right now, because she missed the last one, because the weather's been obviously very pleasant to be in meetings, so, but she's a practice person, for sure, so she has 5 itineraries done to do that.
Okay. Is Donna Hatt with the Department of Tourism, or is she?
White Point Beach. She's the manager at White Point Beach.
Okay.
She does a lot of seminars on packaging and product development, stuff like that.
Glad to hear you guys are spending money realizing projects, that's awesome. 183, what about the 217? I'm just a little bit curious of that, because, majority of the people that visit the island stay in Digby, and it's a real cash cow, I think, for Digby. Is that realized in the plan?
Yeah, yes, actually, one of the, you mentioned it, one of the themes of Most Coast Touring was whale watch, actually.
Excellent.
That was number 2, I think, or number 3 on it. And we've had representation from Penny Graham, and Dad is,
Penny's awesome.
yeah, Dad is the Tuesday.
Yeah, she gets a lot done. She's secretly really nice, too. Don't tell her I said that. She is secretly really nice.
She actually said at one meeting with Bike Nova Scotia, that she has bike tours that come from Yarmouth and they go to Clare, and then she takes her whale watch boat over, puts them on the bikes and brings them over to the islands to watch whale watch, and then they come up to Tuesday.
Yeah, well, there used to be a ferry that ran across down there many years ago, and there's a big connection. Like my mother got her teeth fixed in the French shore, and take the speedboat across.
So it's getting back to June, there's a lot of stuff out there that we don't know about ourselves that goes on.
What about, if you want, it's getting on time for me to do the Islands Tourism Association meeting, and Saskia has mentioned it to me. Maybe the next couple of weeks I'll get a hold of her and try to hammer out a date, just so everybody's on the same page down there. The last meeting we had was last year, and pretty much everybody came, I think. Everybody except for one guy who's planning on retiring. Other than that.
Yeah, well, it's certainly important to get together, like Dean said as well.
Mhm.
Especially now with that tourist bureau on and stuff, I mean, it's time that the industry in this area got together a little bit more.
Well, something's going to have to fill the gap. We're kind of falling between the $41 million ferry crack and the hundreds of thousands for the plan for the Annapolis Valley. And our share is the VIC's closed. Yeah, so it's definitely up to us, I think, to really try to mitigate this as much as possible.
Any other questions? George?
Is there information this year in the tourist books or whatever about the 183 loop? Is there actually something? Not for sure.
Too late. It's just, and we realize we may be too late. As you know, from the first meeting in November, we thought it was going to be announced in November. And then we actually set up a meeting in Annapolis that the representatives from tourism was going to come down. We actually did that meeting around that person, and of course, she didn't show up. So we were hoping for announcements back in November, December, so we could get something out.
So it'll probably be next year, other than locally about.
Yeah, other than working with, UNESCO is far ahead that we could probably, and I'm waiting for minutes back from their meeting, so once we get the minutes back from UNESCO and Biosphere there.
Their app is fantastic. That's what really, I think, caught our eye.
Anyone else? Linda?
Just, did I hear you say that the Nova Scotia Tourism Agency has decided not to replace the Destination Southwest Nova with another organization? Did you say that, or did I miss that? No, but I thought I'd heard one of you say that they had decided not to replace Destination Southwest Nova.
Well, I think they say they do want to be a two-located destination Southwest because that was such a...
No, but have they decided, are they going to put something in place, though?
I don't
Yeah.
think they are replacing Destination. I think it's up to the communities, they have until March 20th, I believe, to apply for money this year.
Oh, yeah.
Deadline is March 20th for that, so.
Any other comments? We do appreciate you taking the time to come.
And thank you for being members of the
Well, we try, and we have a good rep on there, I hope.
I'm sure. Yeah, 91 to 98, those were heydays. Yeah, the shiny days that we all wish we could
We'll have it for when we,
Talk about it?
when do the discussion. No, I don't think they've sent it to you yet. Actually, I talked to Greg on Thursday about it, so.
All righty. The next, there is nothing for dangerous and unsightly. The next is approval of the minutes of February the 9th.
I'll move the acceptance of the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Any old business or business arising? I did speak to Staff Sergeant about our noise bylaw, and I think, were you was also speaking with, I know I
I haven't
did.
yet.
Okay.
I was sort of waiting until I saw him at the meeting next week.
Well, I did mention to him about our noise bylaw,
Mhm.
in a very nice way. Just wanted to, we do have one, we hope people remembered we had one and we'd like it followed. But that's, I didn't go into it, I didn't know what had been done
No,
on
I
the other
hadn't done
side.
anything.
Okay. Any other old business or business arising? Okay,
Made
hearing
me
none.
look like I was forgetting something.
No, just checking. New business, Communities in Bloom. They have, just a minute.
This is the one you went to last year, wasn't it?
Yes. They just sent a paper in today to ask us if we would be interested to attend. What I'm looking at that I think we'd be very interested in is the one in that there's national and there's provincial. It's national, but we'd only attend the provincial. The cost is $350. Like I said, I got it today and I just put it on the council.
I got a letter too, but I couldn't figure out where it was being held. Is that in Halifax?
It's always held in Halifax.
Okay, because I got a form and everything too in the mail.
Okay. And I really think it's a benefit for us to try to be a member for a couple of years. Even if we don't attend, I think there are benefits. We can hear what's going on in the other communities. we can see. I really think we have a showpiece looking down at Maud Lewis, you know, and the difference in the idea in our community garden. So I do. I think it's a benefit, and I think it's a nice thing to show off for us as well.
It's interesting, I've been asked about community gardens just the other day for the Isles. They can walk up here, so yeah, interesting.
Vegetable or flower?
Is it gotta be, some vegetables have flowers at some point. Does it gotta be flowers?
No, it can be vegetable.
Okay, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the village said that, Westport Village in particular, said that they would make land available and manage it. So they haven't been lettered yet.
With Communities in Bloom, there's community gardens that are vegetable, but then they have other things around it and do, longtime members have been Yarmouth and Annapolis. They're both longtime members. So what is the wish of council?
Would we refer this
What's the fee again?
$350.
And when's it got to be in by?
I thought it's coming up, but I could be wrong. I'd have to go get that paper out of my office.
It doesn't have a date.
If not, we can put it over. We're meeting on that anyway. So would you please move it to,
I'd like to move this to the budget process.
I'll second that.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next, and let's do it this way. The Trinity Anglican Church, TLC Animal Shelter, Southwest Nova Reserve Association, Ministers of Canadian Heritage and Official Languages, World War Commentaries Community Fund, Transport Declare funding request, T-Box sponsorship request. None of these would be real now, no, really. Bear River Economic Development Society request. Would someone like to move those all to?
I'd like to move them all except for 8.5
minister.
because
Yeah,
that's
that's not
not
a
a funding
request.
request.
Yeah. And I'll second that.
That wasn't that
That's not a funding request.
No, they're just asking.
They're going to have a fund that we can apply to for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah,
that's right.
different
Sorry,
things
that's
that
what
have
I'm
to do
going
with
through. We'll go
World
back
War
to
I
that.
and World War II.
Okay. And was it moved?
Yes.
Seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Now we will go to 8.5, Minister of Canadian Heritage and Official Languages.
I see that more as a correspondence information, like, it's something that we could
It is
give out to the
something we want
community.
Rob to look at.
Yes. He can look at it and see if
So
it
can we
fits.
move that we have our heritage person look at this
So moved.
and bring us back a report?
Seconded.
Can we have it by next committee of the whole? Month away?
Next, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the Chief Administrator's Report, and here's where we're going to make a change. March 16th, bylaw policy at 6. March 17th, joint RCMP advisory at 6. March 23rd, council. March 25th, shared services committee. March 27th, UNSM World Caucus, and are we all available? I am asking in advance.
I am.
I am.
27th?
Yes.
Linda?
Yep.
And did everybody send in?
I'm not available that day.
Oh, I didn't send in anything. No.
Please do that as soon as possible. Go back to your email and let them know you are attending, because that's how they go with numbers. So that's important to do.
I
Mark,
just-
sorry.
What is it exactly? Is that you meet across the province and it happens to be in our area?
Yeah.
Regional meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Actually, it's a
regional.
regional
Oh, okay,
meeting
that one
and
was
not the
postponed,
rural
wasn't it?
caucus.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry,
That's
it's
right.
misprint on the agenda.
Yeah,
It's-
Okay, it's the
regional
regional.
It's a
yeah.
regional meeting.
Yeah, I'm available, okay.
April the 6th and March 30th, there are no meetings. On April the 13th, Committee of the Whole is listed at 4:30. We have a
Volunteer?
competition banquet dinner for prizes for the RFB, and some of our schools have one. I don't know which ones. You know, so Jimmy and I would like to attend, and that's at 6 down in Clare. So we'd like the meeting to start at 4 and have no presentations on that night.
And that's the 13th of November?
Yes. I want to know how, if the council will agree.
I have no problem with it.
George?
Fine.
Very fine. Okay, so that will be the change. It will be 4 o'clock.
Oh, at 4?
Yeah.
4 p.m.
And no presentation.
What were the other 2 dates, Linda? You said there wasn't any meetings?
March 30th and April 6th.
Why the 30th?
April
Curious.
Because there's.
It's the fifth Monday of the
It's the fifth
month.
Monday. And the 6th is Easter Monday, but if you want to come, you can come,
I'll probably find something to
and you can find something to do here.
do. I'll stay down there.
April the 20th is the bylaw on policy at 6. At 5:45 is the planning advisory on April 21st. On April 27th is council. And then there was a CAO update. Is there any questions or concerns to ask our CAO? Okay, department reports. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? Jimmy?
I just wanted to go back to say under the CAO report that I think maybe with the CAO's emails going to transportation and our conversation with the manager last week, they're putting the signage and lights up in
Yeah.
Conway now for the
Yeah.
crosswalk finally.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Linda emailed me and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, he's gonna go dancing at.
I was telling Jeff this morning when I was going down, I went, oh my God, why are they cleaning up that spot? We had that purposely blocked. Why are they doing this? This is what's all going through my head. Then I seen the email, then I felt better. So when I came back, I was looking, and I knew Jeff was checking on it, so.
But I
Jimmy's
think,
hitting the Legion dancing with everybody there tonight.
well, I just think that maybe they
It's still
finally, they
going on.
listened to us because, I mean, they shouldn't have started if they weren't going to be able to complete it in a timely manner.
That's right, I agree. Okay, so there's no questions on departmental reports? They were well done?
I have a question in regards to Dan Harvey. Isn't his contract coming up shortly?
We will be discussing that.
Okay.
Okay, next, is any updates from previous action items? And capital project updates, any questions on that? Hearing none, we will continue with correspondence. Oh,
I
I'm
just want to
sorry,
go
Jimmy.
back to the report again. Like, in it, there's a report from Rob about the signage for UNESCO.
Mhm.
Like, what are we doing, like, we've talked to Data tonight about it, and
I thought we'd be bringing it up at our,
What I'll do, I'll follow up with Rob.
okay.
Yeah, to
That-
see where it is now.
All right, and see what we're going to do. Okay, good.
okay, the next is approval for joint advisory board that came, which was very nice. Upcoming events and activities in Bear River, World Energy News, February edition. Is there any comments? or
And that advisory board was the police. It doesn't say that. What was the police one? Right?
We finally got ministerial
Yeah.
approval to form a joint
Yes,
RCMP advisory board after
that's why I was so
operating
pleased.
for 2 years.
We operated 2 years before we got.
We were just a little ahead of the curve.
Jimmy?
When you mentioned Bear River, it made me think, you said earlier about you talked to the staff sergeant. Did you talk to the staff sergeant about the noise bylaw for Bear River? Like, for the concerns that we had?
I just, in general, spoke about it because I knew Linda was going to be talking too, and I didn't want to.
Okay. Did you talk to them about potentially looking at the enforcement for the speed out that way as well? I'm just wondering.
No, and
because-
I haven't had a chance to talk to Staff Sergeant.
That's on the patient.
I hope to do it this week, if not next week when we meet.
Patient's
We actually
All right.
have a meeting scheduled next week, so.
Okay.
No, I did not talk to him about enforcing speed. I
Okay.
thought we
will.
would bring that up at our meeting.
All right. Okay.
That was the noise bylaw I wanted him to know about and the
Right
concern.
away.
And I shouldn't say that, I did mention the concern about speeding in Bear River,
All right.
but I didn't get into deep details.
Is there any questions from the gallery?
The meetings, doesn't it include like the budget meetings, are they coming up too? Not that I would ever make it, but.
Well, actually, the bylaw and policy, the first meeting in April will be most likely a budget meeting. We'll start our budget
So
processing.
that's where it'll be, I'll see this kind of bylaw policy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any questions? Then we're going to take a 5-minute, we'll say 5-minute recess, and then we will go into committee,
In camera?
Maybe a motion to go.
in committee, in camera is the same.